Hello everyone, this is me, Gaming21, and today we are going to be doing the Haerman Smith video that I finally fucking promised you. After a time of actually searching through his entire video collection of some of the things that he's talked about, I really kind of wanted to talk about a few of the videos. I'm not going to show all of them, because the one that I really want to talk about is actually his most recent one on Overwatch 2, because that kind of relates to the earlier video this week, and I kind of want to do a themed week of just Overwatch 2 stuff. Just because I think it'd be funnier to see his take on this, and I actually kind of agree with him. And we're also going to be taking a little look at one such Reforge gaming as well, but that'll be like a bonus thing at the end of the video. If not, it'll probably be in its own short. In any case, Mr. Haerman Smith has releases like one video a week, sometimes even multiple videos within weeks or even seconds of each other, and this dude is just a never-ending content farm, but he has very little to say. I mean, some of the things that he's been bitching about were Pretendo YouTubers for UTech USA, as a few others were talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 news, which basically, he doesn't understand that we were informed that Nintendo was probably kind of working, most likely working on the next console, maybe a Switch 2, maybe something else, by Xbox during the ABK merger, or the ABK trials and stuff, so yeah, obviously. We also have things like Microsoft owns that, and how he thinks that Ratchet & Clank bombed on Steam. I think I covered that one. I am unsure if I didn't. Message me in the comments about it. I'll make sure that I get that up, because I actually did want to cover it, but I've been unsure if I can. And a bunch of other stuff about Nintendo and everything like that. So yeah, a little long and short of the intro of this is Haerman is one of those people that, when you start covering him, it's become a slow news day. So yeah, this will probably get me through to at least the end of the month. Hopefully. Probably not, though, because I still release 2 videos a week. But yeah, with all that being said, please be sure to like, comment, rate, and subscribe so you can support my dying brain cells. Support me on the Patreon, as well as a few other places down in the description below. Love you all. Your viewership is enough, but if you want to support me more, again, down in the description. So let's get into the actual video of Overwatch 2 coming to Blizzard. Coming to Steam, Blizzard is desperate, in all caps. Let's go.
Overwatch 2 is coming to Steam out of a desperate attempt to try and keep itself relevant. It's so laughable to me that we are in this time frame where Blizzard, a company that is famous for never releasing its titles on Steam, has no choice but to release its premier hero shooter franchise, Overwatch, on Steam to try and inflate its numbers, because Overwatch 2 has been a complete disaster. I know I haven't really been talking about Overwatch 2. I made a video talking about how disappointing it was and how people were upset about it, and I kind of gave a little bit of context that other people don't really address, namely the fact that Overwatch 1 wasn't all that popular to begin with.
Okay, so that's a lot there to talk about, but I think within that I do tend to agree. Overwatch 2 specifically, has been an absolute piece of garbage. Why? Because of the fact that they made all these big, epic promises and then just didn't deliver. At all. Nothing was really delivered. The PvE mode's going to be stripped back, and it actually costs money in order to do that. The whole free-to-play model and the battle pass and things like that kind of sucks in a lot of different ways. And the fact that, yeah, I paid them over, I mentioned this in the last video, but it used to be a paid game, and yeah, it used to be a lot better, in my personal opinion, back in the day, when the balancing was not as egregiously stupid as it is now, and it was at least fun to play with friends in that context. But Overwatch, being one of the games that did not come to Steam, is quite weird, because I'm unsure as to how many of Blizzard's games are actually on Steam, because if Overwatch 2 is the first one, that's kind of dumb. Because I'm fairly certain that they've had, Diablo 3 and 4 and a few of the other ones on the Steam. I can probably correct myself in the editing process. Editing me, correct myself, please. But I'm fairly certain that they've had games on Steam, especially Blizzard. And the thing is that Activision, specifically Activision, the people that were kind of run Blizzard now or bought Blizzard out or are the subsequent whatever the fuck. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They made Battle.net and they took off the modern CODs and stuff like that to try to make their own platform. And guess what? A lot of Activision games are now kind of making their way crawling back onto Steam because they want the big numbers. But I don't think that that Blizzard games are on. That was the first game to be on there. Maybe the first one in a while. Unsure. But we move on. I'm just rambling now. Continue.
But like, we are in this situation where Blizzard has like antagonized their core audience so much that they are bleeding players by the day, right? They are losing everyone. All of the most hardcore fans, all their fanatics, all of their fanboys, all of their shills, like all of this is just collapsing in and of itself. And it is glorious to see. Blizzard might have had like the most fanatic must have had like the most insane fan base of any Western video game studio I've ever seen, because so many of them love to pretend that Blizzard is like one of the best developers in gaming and put out like some of the best titles ever made. And like, I'm just like, StarCraft isn't that good, bro. Like, World of Warcraft, complete crap. Like, everything they've put out is just a complete.
You say that, and yet World of Warcraft is still going strong all these years later. I'm fairly certain they're getting onto their next expansion. Unsure. They might. I don't keep up with the World of Warcraft news, but I would say that World of Warcraft itself is a pretty big success. I personally don't like Starfield. Not Starfield. StarCraft. My mistake. But that's just a personal opinion. StarCraft is good for the players that like it. And if we didn't have StarCraft, I don't think we would have Dota. I think it's the same. Was it the same people that made it? I don't think it was the same people that made it, but they basically made their own games and stuff. Not the point. The point being is that their games do generally tend to define specific genres whenever they do that. And yeah, certainly they've made some missteps, but at the same time, I mean, they have been losing their luster over the years with some pretty bad things, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Disaster, and nobody wants to admit it. And like, it's been getting worse over the past decades, right? The past few decades, right? Diablo 3, Hearthstone, crap. You have like, Overwatch in and of itself. You have like all of these disaster train wreck properties that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to admit that.
I mean, Hearthstone has made a lot of money into stuff, and it's more of a mobile app than anything else. And I'm surprised that you say Diablo 3 and not say Diablo 4 or Diablo Immortals, more recent examples, which actually are correct, because Diablo 3 was released back in a time when Diablo actually could carry the weight of a lot of things and was actually really, really good. And I don't know if it's available on Steam. See, this is the part where he starts to lose me and say that, oh, well, these are stupid ways to do this and that and the other thing, and it's just, I mean, I agree with him that Blizzard is desperate to try to make the numbers better, but at the same time, no.
These brands are as bad as they are. And like, even right now, we're seeing people try to pretend that Diablo 4 is a huge success story when it's really not. It's just more of the same, right? It's just Blizzard just coasting along on past successes and like an obsessive fan base. And as we've seen with Overwatch 2, that is not going to last forever. It's possible that Diablo 4 might be the last time that they ever become relevant. They ever like ever able to pretend to be relevant, because Diablo is an established franchise. Like, I don't think they'll ever be able to do what they did with Overwatch ever again, in which they like tried to introduce a new IP, like tried to pretend it was the hot new thing, the big new property, and have it fail.
I find this argument interesting because, again, we're dealing with a Nintendo fanboy here, and you always kind of have to wonder, what if you were to replace some of those games and try to turn the tables on, say, Nintendo? For things like, I don't know, if you replace Diablo with Pokemon as the established one, you replace Overwatch with, say, any of their actual tech demo-y type stuff, and, the fanatical fan base of Blizzard and just replace that with Nintendo people. I'm fairly certain you have the exact same argument there. So it's times like these where you don't even really need to make any jokes. You just need to kind of put forth the concept of, say, what if you were to just adjust it slightly using the exact same wording, the exact same arguments, but for, say, the side that you're trying to defend? I mean, it kind of makes sense to me because, yeah, Nintendo is kind of not really on a decline, but definitely is in one of those slumps that they sort of have where they're kind of stuck in a holding pattern as of right now. Most of their games and consoles, most of the console itself has ringed a lot of the power, and again, it's very old. If they do make a Switch 2 or they do make a new console system, I would recommend to be able to do that within the next 5 to 6 years. But maybe the next 5 to 6 years, maybe even like at maximum, if you continue past that, you're basically killing yourself at that point. And this thing's already like 13 years old, plus whatever the amount of time that it's been even back then. So yeah, you can't really coast along forever. And yeah, eventually things do tend to kind of fuck up. So
in like less than a decade, right? This was supposed to be like, a genre defining thing, but like the long term, it's getting destroyed by Splatoon. Nobody wants to admit it. Nobody wants to talk about it, but Splatoon is way better, more successful, and more unique than
what? Excuse me?
Overwatch ever was. Like, Overwatch is just not all that interesting. It never was. And with this stealth low-key reboot with Overwatch 2, right, with them trying to, like, do all this stuff, trying to recapture their player base and try to get that same energy back, it's not going to happen, right? People are not interested in Overwatch anymore. People don't care about Blizzard. And who can possibly blame them after everything that has happened over the past several years?
Honestly, I do again agree with his overall point of like, oh, no one really cares about Blizzard. No one likes Blizzard anymore, yada yada. And it's like I can completely agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of times where I actually do agree with people that I distrust or people that I don't respect or people that I don't like. And this is one of those times where I don't like Haerman Smith. I don't like his content or anything like that. But honestly, I can agree with his points, and that's kind of the difference between me and some other people. So yeah. In any case, let's look at let's look at the Reforge gaming. So this is kind of the bonus stuff. So if you just came here for the Haerman Smith stuff, thank you so much for watching. But again, for those of you who want to stick around for the whole video, please continue watching. So yeah, but this is quite interesting because I do want to read a couple of things to kind of mull over what we're talking about here. Let's continue.
No one's ever said it's holding back gaming. That's never been the argument. You think I give a frick about your Series S when I'm playing Spider-Man 2? You think I give a frick about your Series S when I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 or Burning Shores or my PSVR 2? You're not holding back gaming. You're holding yourself back. You're not a threat to me or gaming. You're a threat to every piece of property that Xbox owns.
I like how he shifts the goalpost here, because it has been a long big thing that any time any problem came up with the Series S, right, that it was holding back all of gaming. This has been an actual thing for a while now. Like, you think that it's just holding the Xbox back, and that might be true that it might be holding Xbox back, but I would say that in this context, why are you moving the goalpost? You, like, a number of times I can think of off the top of my head where you have said that Xbox, like the Series XS, is holding back gaming. There have been times where you yourself have been quoted to that. Now, we'll flash up some of the shit that I found on screen just from searching it up. You care way more about Xbox's stuff than you do about PlayStation stuff. Well, yeah, you might be playing their games, you're still thinking about Xbox and things like that. It's one of those things that is just like so ingrained into your mind that it's stupid. It's very stupid. Y'all are low-hanging fruit at this point, at least for me. Quite honestly, I hate like the discourse around specific things right now, because I was fighting a lot of battles, and I've become, again, probably more jaded than I would really want to be, at least in terms of being on Twitter and stuff. I really should stop. But at the same time, I don't want to stop because you guys keep demanding this. But you know I love you guys. And yeah, certainly it does basically hurt my brain sometimes to be having to cover these things and stuff like that. But again, I do it for you guys, and I love you guys, and I would never want to not love you guys because you guys deserve at least some form of entertainment that's at least coming. I respect everyone here, and quite honestly, I love what I do, and even though I say that I hate it sometimes, whatever. In any case, I think that that'll about do it for this video. I'll probably edit this down a little bit to make it a little bit more palatable, but at the same time, yeah. In any case, my name is GamePenguin21. If you want to support what it is that I do, links down in the description to all the ways you can monetarily support me: Gumroad, Patreon, Bandcamp, buy some of my music. I am releasing some new music, actually, eventually, a new single. I'm getting back on that musical grind if you want to go and check that out. Again, I'll make an announcement when that actually comes out, and maybe I'll post the song to YouTube. Unsure as of right now. But as for me, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. My name is GamePenguin21. Haerman, Ray, and Reforge, you are hypocritical bastards. And a peace off.